Have you ever wondered if it's too late to find real love? Or if the life you imagine filled with deep connection and belonging has somehow slipped beyond your reach? Maybe you've built a rich life of independence, poured yourself into work, friendships, or passions, but still feel a quiet longing for something more. Perhaps you've watched friends build families, navigated holidays solo, or felt like an outsider in a world that celebrates coupledom and parenthood. If you've ever asked yourself, what about me? Is it possible to have the love and connection I crave at this stage? You're in the right place. Welcome to Change is Big and Small. This podcast is for you if you're ready to dream again, get unstuck, and live life on purpose. I'm Coach Damianne, your host as we explore small steps that can help you make big changes to build a life that you love. Today's episode is all about rediscovering romance and navigating the complex web of connections, including friends, family, and chosen community in midlife. We'll explore how you can invite more intimacy and joy into your life, even if your path looks different from those around you. We'll talk about how to give yourself permission to want more, whether that's more love, more playfulness, or more fulfillment, and how to honor the desires that are uniquely yours. So grab your favorite cup of tea, settle in, and let's explore how you can reclaim joy, connection, and love in this next chapter. If you're listening today, you might be someone who's spent years building a life on your own terms, nurturing friendships, excelling in your career, traveling, or exploring your passions. Maybe you always thought love would come. Or maybe you chose a different path, but now you find yourself wondering if there's still room for romance or a deeper sense of belonging in your life. It's easy to feel invisible or left out when society seems to celebrate marriage and motherhood as the gold standard for women's happiness. You may have wanted a partner or a family and it didn't happen, or maybe you're content with your choices but still crave meaningful connection, people to share your life with, or simply to feel truly seen and valued. Friends may have drifted away, or you might feel like the third wheel at gatherings. Sometimes the people closest to you just don't understand the unique joys and challenges of being older and single. For some of you, beneath the surface, there might be a quiet hope, a desire for companionship, for romance, for a sense of family, whether that's with relatives, friends who feel like family, or a new love. You may also feel a longing to be accepted and celebrated for exactly who you are and not who you're supposed to be. It's common to feel guilt for wanting more, or frustration that the kind of connection you crave seems elusive or out of step with what's normal. But I want to offer you this. Your desires are valid. Fulfillment, joy, and connection are not reserved for those who follow a traditional path. They are available to you right now in the life that you are living. Wanting more for yourself is not selfish, and it's essential. Rediscovering romance and redefining family in midlife isn't just about finding a partner or reconnecting with relatives. It's about honoring your own needs, building supportive communities, and giving yourself permission to pursue what lights you up. When you feel connected and fulfilled, you show up more fully for yourself and for the people who matter most. So today we're going to talk about how to move from feeling stuck or overlooked to feeling seen, valued, and excited about what's possible for you in this chapter. The first step is often to rethink what's possible. So a few months ago, I was talking to a friend and she wanted to take a sabbatical year. And she was saying, oh, I'm overwhelmed by this decision because I don't have a partner. And I was like, come on, you have friends, you have me. And bonus, I'm a coach, so why don't we talk through your goals, your dreams, what you would like this sabbatical year to look like? And I can help you make a plan for it. And that's exactly what we did. Now she's been on sabbatical since June and she's been loving it. So let's be honest. For many single women over 40, we might have this idea of what our life should be like. And when it comes to romance, it can feel like it's a closed door, or at least one that's hard to open. Maybe you've never had the kind of love you imagined, or you've spent years building a rich, independent life and feel a quiet longing for connection regardless. Perhaps you're tired of being told to just put yourself out there, or you wonder if it's even possible to find meaningful romance at this age. If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. First, let's release the idea that romance has an expiration date or that it has to look a certain way. You may want to check out the episode with Karen Anderson April on how to date from an empowered position as a woman. That link will be in the show notes because she's a woman who found a partner later in life and she talks about what that experience was like for her. Romance in midlife is not about fitting into someone else's script. It's about honoring your authentic desires, exploring what lights you up, and giving yourself permission to want more, even if you've never experienced it before. Whether you're curious about dating, yearning for intimacy, or simply want to feel more alive and connected, your desires are valid. Romance in midlife can be as much about self discovery as it is about partnership. It's about tuning into what brings you joy, excitement, and connection. And maybe that's going to be a new romantic relationship, but it could also be a deepening friendship or creating rituals of self love and pleasure. So, what does romance look like for you right now? Just think about that as you listen to this episode. Maybe it's trying something new, like joining a dance class or saying yes to a coffee date. Maybe it's writing yourself affirmations, planning solo adventures, or going on a tour where you know there's going to be other singles. Or maybe you want to explore your passions with fresh curiosity. There's no need for you to be traditional. There are so many different ways we can have connection nowadays. For example, I know people who live in communal housing where they have agreements over what it means to live in this shared kind of space. Or there are people who live in multi-family setups. Really think about really think about what it is that you want because there are so many different options available nowadays. Society often tells us that women wanting romance, intimacy, or even simple pleasure is selfish or frivolous, especially if you're single and over 40. But wanting more for yourself is not only okay. I want to offer you that it's essential. You deserve to experience joy, connection, and even butterflies in your stomach, no matter your age or your relationship history. Give yourself permission to dream again, to hope, and to take small, brave steps towards what you want. The most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. So, rediscovering romance starts with self compassion, tuning into yourself, treating yourself with kindness and curiosity, and learning what it is that you want once more, especially for some of us who may be so disconnected from that. One of the important things here is for you to untie your self worth from your relationship status or your past experiences. It doesn't matter what happened before, it doesn't matter your old history. You are worthy of love and connection simply because you exist. This is not something that you need to earn. But I want to tell you, don't put off living a life that is full and rich and exciting. Take time to reconnect with your authentic desires. What activities make you feel alive? What have you always wanted to try but put on hold? Make a list of those small desires, things that spark joy. They could be things that take seconds or they could take hours. And try some new things just for you, noticing how it feels. because every small act of self love is a step towards inviting more romance into your life. Again, I want to say don't put your life on hold until you have love or romance. Have a rich, full life and also be open to expanding that experience with somebody else if that's what you want. You don't have to overhaul your life or force yourself into uncomfortable situations. Instead, focus on small, consistent actions that align with your desires. Maybe that means updating your dating profile or reaching out to somebody you find is interesting or simply being open to new possibilities. Smiling back, having a conversation with somebody. It doesn't only have to be about romance, it's also about connections as you go through your day to day life. The other important thing to remember is that romantic connections don't exist in a vacuum. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, inspire you, and encourage you. Friends who celebrate your dreams and remind you that you're not alone in wanting more. Community can be a powerful source of joy and support as you navigate the ups and downs of dating and self discovery. Community is also a great way to have the connections that you desire. And you might even have the opportunity to meet people that are a good match for you, whether for friendship or for dating, through those networks and through your community. So remember that it's never too late. Romance in midlife isn't about recapturing what you missed or following someone else's timeline. It's about writing your own story on your own terms. You get to decide what romance means for you, and you get to begin again as many times as you need. There's no deadline for love. There is no deadline for connection. There is no deadline for joy. Just focus on the next small step that you're willing to take. I want to invite you to look out for opportunities to invite more romance. I remember a friend of mine telling me that you've got to make sure that your antenna is tuned. You need to make sure that your antenna is noticing the signals that are being sent your way. So maybe you need to sometimes say yes to new experiences or reach out to someone you admire. Or maybe you simply need to treat your own self to some additional kindness. Whatever it is, know that you're not alone and you can absolutely have love and connection in your life. Once again, I want to say that you don't need to earn it. So we've spent some time talking about romance. So let's spend a few minutes talking about family. When you're a single woman over 40, especially if you don't have children, family and friendship can feel both grounding and complicated. You might have envisioned a life with a partner or a bustling household, or maybe you always pictured your family looking a little bit different. And now, as you move through midlife, you may find yourself redefining what family looks like and what connection truly means to you. Family isn't just one thing. There are many types of family relationships, each shaping our sense of belonging in unique ways. For example, in marital relationships, this could be a spouse or a partner. And for others, this is a feeling or a sense of loss for a relationship that never materialized or one that ended. And there may be some empty space for new definitions of what it means to have intimacy and what it means to have that kind of support. In the parent child relationship, you may not have any children. You may feel the absence of this bond, especially in a culture that often centers motherhood. You might also be navigating your role as a daughter to aging parents, and that can bring both connection and responsibility. Maybe your grandparents are still alive and you have a close relationship with them, or maybe you have a close relationship with a beloved aunt or a mentor, or you are the one who's a beloved aunt or mentoring the next generation. And those can be a great opportunity to have fulfillment through intergenerational bonds. If you have brothers and sisters, those can be a source of lifelong support. Or sometimes they can actually be a cause of complexity and distance. The quality of these ties can shift over time, and they can be influenced by life events, geography, and family history. And then we also have blended families or chosen families. So this could be step relations, families of choice, friends who become like sisters. These chosen family and blended family members can provide love and support that traditional family structures sometimes lack. So look around you. What are the different types of family relationships that you have, and which ones really serve you? Each of these relationships can affect your sense of belonging, your day to day support systems, and even your sense of self. So, for single women without children, it's common to feel left out of the typical family script, especially during holidays or during major life events. But it's also an opportunity to intentionally create the connections that matter most to you. We often make other people responsible for our relationships and for our sense of belonging. But you have a role in every relationship, how you feel about it and how you participate in it. Without the traditional anchors of a spouse or children, you might feel pressure to explain your life or justify your actions. And you may even experience grief for what hasn't happened. I did have an episode on ambiguous grief, which I'm going to share in the show notes. Or you might have frustration when others assume your life is less full. At the same time, your independence and freedom are real strengths, and you may find deep satisfaction in nurturing friendships, caring for parents, or building a chosen family that reflects your values and desires. Your relationships with parents can become more central as you age, especially if you're supporting them through health challenges or life transitions. And sibling relationships may grow stronger or more distant depending on the shared history and the current circumstances. If you're not close to biological relatives, you may want to invest more time in your friendships or in community groups, building your own tribe for support and celebration. Really strong families, whether biological or chosen, they share qualities like appreciation, affection, commitment, positive communication, and the ability to support each other through life's ups and downs. If you don't have those connections through birth, you can certainly create them by intention. It's never too late to build the kind of supportive, loving relationships that nourish your spirit, where you are there for others and they are also there for you. So ask yourself, who are the people you can count on? Who brings you joy and who do you support in return? Maybe it's a sibling, a parent, a neighbor, a group of friends who feel like family. These relationships matter just as much as any traditional family ties. Friendships can really be a lifeline, especially when you're single. But they can also be challenging to maintain as life gets busier and as the circumstances change for you or for your friends. You might notice that friends from earlier chapters have drifted away, or that you're often the one reaching out. Or you might find that they actually have more time now. It's easy to feel like a medium friend, not quite in anyone's inner circle, or to feel left out as others focus on their own families. But the good news is that friendships can be rebuilt and deepened at any age. And you can decide that you want to nurture a connection, and you can then be brave to reach out to that person. Or you can also be brave and reach out to new people. Similarly, you can invest time in groups or activities that align with your interests. All of those are important connections that you can create, and they are the basis of friendships. Spending time together, having a common interest. So remember, you're not alone in wanting more connection. There are countless other women in your shoes hoping for the same thing. When I first moved to Prague, I've talked about this a few times, but I joined Internations. The Internations is a group that is open to both expats and locals, and it's popular in a lot of countries. In Japan, when I lived in Nagoya, there weren't a lot of Internations activities, but in Prague, there are a ton of them. And I have friends both in Prague and outside of Prague, friends I've traveled with in multiple different situations that I met from Internations events. So it really does work if you're open to putting yourself out there, if you are open to being vulnerable, to expressing interest and noticing other people's interests, you can build friendships through activities in groups. It does take some intention, it does take some time and effort, but it is absolutely possible. I do want to take a moment and acknowledge both the grief of unmet expectations and the joy of what you have built in your life. Give yourself permission to mourn the family or friendships that didn't materialize. or the ones that have died. And at the same time, you can celebrate the connections and community you do have. So there can be both this grief and this mourning, as well as this gratitude and appreciation. Both experiences are valid and both can coexist. Navigating family and friend dynamics in midlife is ultimately about agency. You can choose who you let into your life, you can choose how you define family, and you can choose what kind of connections you want to nurture. You don't have to fit anybody else's script, anybody else's decisions. You get to decide what belonging looks like for you. And you can always begin again, creating that circle, this network, this community for yourself. So as you reflect on your own relationships, ask yourself, what kind of family and friendships do I want in this chapter? Just think about it. What are some of the things you can do to invite more connection, support, or joy into your life? You may find yourself in a situation where you need to navigate a romance, friendship, and family, and each of those play a distinct yet deeply interconnected role in your well being and fulfillment. While society often encourages us to compartmentalize these connections, the truth is that they all work together to form the basis of a joyful, meaningful life. The quality of our relationships with romantic partners, family, and friends has a profound impact on our health and our well being, both in the moment and over time. For women in midlife, these connections are not just nice to have, they are essential for thriving. Yet when you're single and don't have children, it's easy to feel like you're missing a piece of the puzzle. Don't buy into that narrative. You have the power to create a rich, interconnected support system that is uniquely yours, that exactly meets your needs, and where you can be a good participant and feel like you really are in community. So, when we look at relationships, we have three types: romance, friendship, and family. Broadly, romance brings excitement, intimacy, and a sense of being chosen. It can spark new energy and it can help you see yourself through fresh eyes. But romance is not the only source of deep connection or validation. In fact, approaching dating from a place of desire, not need, that you want it, this genuine deep desire, helps you honor your worth and build healthier, more empowered relationships. Friendships offer steadfast support, laughter, and a safe place to be your authentic self. Friends can become chosen family, especially when biological relatives are distant or when those relationships are complicated. Investing in your friendships, both the old ones and the new ones, can fill your life with joy, adventure, and belonging. And family. Whether your family is biological or chosen, it provides roots, history, and a sense of continuity. Even if your family looks different from the traditional one, nurturing those ties or intentionally creating new ones can offer you comfort, support, and a place to land during life's transitions. These three types of relationships don't exist in silos. When you nurture one, it often strengthens the others. For example, the confidence you gain from supportive friendships can empower you to date with more self assurance. The resilience you build through family challenges can help you show up more authentically in all your other relationships. So, what are some of the ways for you to integrate and strengthen your connections? Well, here are four suggestions. The first one is for you to practice gratitude and positive self talk. When you express gratitude for the people in your life, whether that's a friend, a sibling, or even yourself, it amplifies your joy and deepens your connection. Consider starting a gratitude journal or sharing gratitude rounds with friends or family at meals to create meaningful moments together. Number two, be your own best friend. Treat yourself with the same kindness and encouragement that you offer others. Self compassion is a foundation for healthy relationships. When you can honor your own needs and desires, you can show up more fully for the people around you. Number three, create community on your own terms. Don't wait for connection to happen by accident. Reach out, join groups, start traditions that bring people together. Whether it's monthly, a walking club, a dinner, a virtual check in with friends that are far away, putting in some of those routines will help you create community. And the last one, number four, honor your unique path. There isn't a right way to build a fulfilling life. Whether your circle is small or wide, whether you're dating, deepening your friendships, or reconnecting with family, every step you take can nurture connection and it all counts. So, whether you have a traditional family or a romantic story, remember that your life is rich with possibility. When you integrate romance, friendship, and family, however you define them, you create a web of support, joy, and meaning that is truly your own. So, as you move forward, ask yourself these three questions. Just think about these questions as you continue listening to the episode. How can I invite more connection into my life, starting with one small step? What relationships, romantic, platonic, or familial, am I longing to nurture or create? How can I celebrate the fullness of my life exactly as it is today? You don't have to have all the answers. Just think about these questions, play with them, consider them, because they are going to be signs and signals for where you want to spend more time. Which connections do you want to give more attention? They're a great way to get to know yourself, what you really need, and where you want to spend your time. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to invite you to reflect and then take one small intentional step forward. Pick one action that feels doable and meaningful to you, something that invites more connection, romance, or community in your life. It might be as simple as reaching out to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, saying yes to a social invitation you'd usually decline, or even planning a solo date, a walk in nature, a visit to your favorite cafe, or a movie night just for you. If you're curious about dating, maybe update your profile or send a message to someone new. In family dynamics feel heavy, consider putting a gentle boundary or having an honest conversation with a relative. And if you're longing for deeper friendships, explore a local group or class that supports your interests. Whatever you choose, remember that this step isn't about perfection or instant transformation. It's about honoring your desires, practicing self compassion, and showing up for yourself in a new way. Thank you for spending time with me on Changes Big and Small today. If today's conversation sparked something in you, a longing for more connection, a desire to rediscover romance, or simply a reminder that you deserve joy and fulfillment in this chapter, I want you to know you're not alone. If you want extra support on this journey, visit damiannecoaching.com/friends for a free guide on adult friendships. Until next time, be kind to yourself, dream again, and choose to build the life and love you want. Change begins with one small step. Have a great week.